Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another Community Fit, and in particular, an Adjusting to Change Toolkit class. I'm your host, James, here with co-host Sleepy Bob, right here. He'll wake up, maybe, at some point today. Welcome. This is going to be our last class. This is our last class of this series and of this season of Community Fit. We're going to be taking a break after this. So today we're going to be wrapping things up. We've had a 6 week journey. Well, we've had a little longer than that, but like this particular set was 6 weeks, but I really think of it as the previous two sections that are sort of all brought in together. So we had co-regulation, we had self-regulation. We had a series on co-regulation starting in January. We had our series on self-regulation practices last series. And this series was really all about cognitive appraisal and kind of working with how we are cognitively processing what's going on, but starting with body-based approaches. And so today we're going to have sort of a culminating experience. Last week we went over habits. So hopefully that was great. I was not live last week, or in person last week. So if you have any questions from last week, go ahead and feel free to drop those in the chat. What we're going to do this week is sort of have a congruent, culminating, embodied experience, meaning we're not going to technically go like review by review by review of what all we've covered. We're going to go into a nervous system toolkit practice. And as we kind of explore and play from the lens of nervous system toolkit work, which was week number 1 of this, and we've been kind of trailing it along. That nervous system toolkit work is stuff we cover all the time, but we're going to kind of have that as the through line, and we're going to drop in some of the emotional literacy, some of the cognitive appraisal, maybe even some habit work, but we're going to do it through the lens today of nervous system toolkit work. So here's the asterisk or cliff notes header footer of this. If if this is your first class or you are relatively new to nervous system work, I highly encourage you to just be with the nervous system work. Allow yourself to explore and play, try some practices on, discern what works for you, figure out what doesn't, create that library of stuff that you'll be doing, those practices that you'll be doing today and hopefully for the rest of your life, so that you have that library of choice, right? And you can get your reps in. If you've been doing it for a while, whether it's been these 6 weeks, the past few months, or the past few years with us, that is when you can really start to explore and play and broaden what it is we're going to be doing for the next 25 minutes or so. Meaning you have more capacity, more capability, the more you practice, to fit more into that bucket of experience. Meaning, as we explore and play, you can kind of zoom out and zoom back in, which will make more sense as we go. What does all of this mean? Well, if I say, if this feels like enough and it feels like enough, stop there, play there. If I say, and if you choose to follow me into this practice and you feel like you have capacity to follow, follow. There is nothing better or greater by following than staying at the fundamentals. I cannot stress that enough. We all, as a human species, have a tendency to kind of jump forward into things thinking, well, the next step is the better step. The next step, if 5 pounds was good, 10 pounds is better, right? Walking a mile is good, running 5 is better. That's not always the truth. Sometimes the real change happens in like the smaller stuff. So that's where I'm going to leave that for today. You choose your own adventure. Let's go ahead and get started. Oh, sorry, Bob. Sorry to have disturbed you, Sleepy Bob. Go ahead and sit and get comfortable, whatever that means for you today, whether that's in a chair, whether that is on a couch, whether it's standing, walking, lying down, you decide. And for today, oh, welcome. For today, just begin to think of the context in which you're working. What do I mean by that? Well, you might want to focus on mindfulness, which is really being able to spot context and variability. Like, how am I feeling now? How does that change as we explore and play today? What practices, variability, what practices work for me, which don't? And how am I going to notice that? Maybe today I'm going to notice that through the lens of my body. Maybe I'm going to notice that like I feel like my shoulders are up in my ears. Maybe I notice that I'm not breathing as well, or that my mind is perseverating on an issue, or I just feel like the vibe is off, right? Like I feel a little low and I want to feel a little high today, whatever that is, and just be with that and kind of notice that. And I'm going to give you a lot today because I'm looking at the names and we have people who've been with us for a very, very long time. So, again, I apologize if this is one of your first few times. You might naturally feel a little bit overwhelmed. And that might be the thing you choose to notice. Like, oh, I feel really overwhelmed by all of this new information. And then maybe as you go along, you don't feel as overwhelmed. But for the people that have been with us for a while, maybe you're thinking about a change you've gone through, a change you're going through. Maybe it's a return to office, maybe it's a new job, maybe it's a divorce, a death, a birth, a wedding, a move somewhere. Something is changing in your world, or has just recently, within the last year, changed, and it's causing you to feel different. Different than you would prefer, different than you normally feel. You maybe feel a little off of your game, not sleeping as well, not eating as well, not moving as well, not relating to people or connecting with people as well, whatever that is. And that might be the context within which you're working today. And none of them are right, none of them are wrong. Again, I'm purposefully throwing a lot out there today to overwhelm, right? So, lots and lots of choices for you to explore and play with. You're going to have to choose. What is the context in which you're working today? And then we're going to dive into the nervous system toolkit work. For those just joining us, the nervous system toolkit work is a series, it's a 5 buckets, 5 categories of somatic practices. So we have breath work, we have sensory foraging work, we have therapeutic touch, we have movement, and we have vocalizations. I'm not going to name them as we go along. I'm just going to do them. And as I do them, feel free to play with them. And if you're like, I'd really like to understand the nervous system toolkit more, we got lots of videos on YouTube. Western Health Advantage Community Fit, YouTube videos, nervous system toolkit videos, they're all over the place. But for today, the invitation is to just notice and then start with a simple exhale. Maybe it's a normal human being inhale and then an exhale, a prolonged exhalation following casual inhale. And maybe as you continue, again, it's all about playing with breath work right now. Maybe as you continue, maybe you are blowing out a candle and not trying to like puff it out, but like a slow, extended exhalation, or like cooling soup or cooling tea. Or maybe next time you take in that big inhale, you pause, and if you can, take in more inhale and exaggerate that exhale. Physiological size. Inhale, second inhale, one more of doing whatever you're doing. And choice time. Either notice whatever you notice to begin with, body, heart, context, thought, whatever it is, or continue to breathe and notice. How does that act of breathing shift your perception and your experience of what is going on in your body or your brain or your memory or the storytelling you like to do? Choice time. Continue to breathe, continue to breathe and or context mindfulness and or start to look around the space. And as you continue to look around your space, maybe you're just noticing things that are in the space. Like, oh, look, there's a ceiling there, and a wall, and another wall. And there's a computer and a phone and a floor. Maybe I want to do the breathing along with it. And for me, I start to notice things outside of the window, and I have some like ornamental grasses that grow in the front, and it's kind of breezy today. So I'm noticing some movement. And I notice Bob over there. And I can check back in with whatever it is I'm tracking, whether that's a physical sensation, a breath work, a thought. You're just paying attention now. What has shifted and changed? And what has caused that shift and change? Your shoulders feel a little softer. Are you less worried? Are you more worried? Right? And where did that happen? Did that happen in a breath work somewhere or looking around? Which breath work did that happen in? Then bring your hands together, get them warmed. Take your warm hands, put them on your cheeks, your throat, your chest, your belly. And maybe you just want to be here. Maybe you want to add in the breath work, or maybe you want to even go beyond that coupling and add in some looking, or maybe closing your eyes and listening to the orientation, listening to sounds in the space, looking around. Now, I can either just be in the experience or I could be mindful of how does this make me feel in the moment? And is this the right placement of hands? Maybe it needs to be this or this. Maybe I need to go into some tapping instead. Or maybe it's havening, a little stroking of the hands or the arms. Or maybe it's just a hold. Maybe I'm realizing therapeutic touch isn't for me today. Maybe I just need to be in orientation, right? None of them are right. None of them are wrong. And I'm fully allowing you and encouraging you to drive today. You be in the driver's seat, checking back in. And if that feels like enough, maybe you're just there. Maybe you're just there today and kind of noticing that. Or maybe if you're in that context, that big change cue that we started off with, maybe you allow yourself to kind of go into that story a bit and notice how does that story make me feel inside? Like, let's just pick an imaginary story. It's a new job, and I've started that new job, and I still feel anxious about new job. And I notice that in my belly or in my shoulders or in my chest, or I notice that in my head, like lots of thoughts. Or maybe your story is a birth or a death. Maybe your story is what you see on the news. Maybe it's what you witness in your neighborhood or a family thing or a friend thing going on. Maybe it's a physical thing going on. Maybe you don't have answers, or maybe you do have answers and you would prefer not to have those answers. Or maybe you're still just in the breath work. All of them are fine. But if you're in that story, allow yourself to go a little deeper and just notice, how does that, as I go deeper into that story and the way I'm thinking about it right now, what physical sensations start to come up? How does that make me feel? And how do I know I feel that way? What words come up? Like if it feels unsettled, like as I'm talking, I'm noticing in my upper belly, like what you might call like a solar plexus area. And I'm noticing it gets tight and it's like rubber band tight. It's like a muscular squeeze tight. And it feels empty. It feels shallow, feels sinewy, feels unpleasant, feels like depletion or going without. And that's the feeling there. And what emotions start to come up for you? If you remember emotional literacy, most of us are really, really, really acquainted with mad, sad, and happy. And that's simply not enough in comparison to the over 34,000 different emotions we could feel. So if I'm feeling that, maybe that feels sad or mad. It certainly doesn't feel happy. I have to discern, is that sad or mad? And then is there another word I can describe? Maybe it's somewhere in between sad or mad. Maybe it's grief. Maybe it's feeling um, scared. Maybe it's feeling overwhelmed or burnt out. Maybe it's feeling disconnected without support. I don't know. What words come up for you? And again, it's perfectly valid to just be in the, oh, it feels pleasant to just be breathing right now. It feels pleasant to just be listening or taking in my space, right? It's difficult to teach to 30 imaginary people, all at different levels. And the best way to do that is for me to get out of the driver's seat and encourage you to step in. Where do you need to be today? And if, as you start to feel that thing, and let's say it's unpleasant, how does a breath work or a movement or a therapeutic touch influence that? Does it make it feel any better? Like for me, if I'm feeling this, I want to go here. I'm just going to try to breathe into my hands. And again, I can only teach from my own personal experience when I'm teaching out into the ether. And if I'm feeling that sinewy kind of in between mad and sad feeling, and I'm doing this, now it feels like there's a little more space in there. Hasn't really changed a whole lot, but there now feels like there's space. So maybe within that space, I go in and I do some reappraisal. Okay, if it felt sinewy, tight, some in grief or disconnected or shallow, how else can I look at that? Is there a silver lining somewhere or another story? What am I not paying attention to? And maybe it's through the lens of the body. Like if this feels not good, where else in my body does feel good? If this feels lacking space, where else in my body do I feel space? If I'm going to walk you through my experience, it feels not spacious in the belly, but it feels very spacious up in the left-hand corner of my chest. I'm just going to go through some pendulation. I'm just going to notice the left side, and then I'm going to let my attention swing back to the belly. It's a noticing and a swinging. In your body, it might feel where you feel cool and warm, night and day, black and white, full and empty. Whatever in your head are opposites, distinctly different. And feeling and noticing that pendulation Or maybe you've been doing your work these past few weeks. You can begin to go into some reappraisal within the story. I notice what that feels like in my body to reappraise and re-examine and notice something different about the same situation, right? One body, two unique experiences going on, one instance in my life. And if something feels kind of overwhelming, how in the same way could it feel nurturing? If it feels like an obstacle in this way, how is it an opportunity over here? Maybe you're dealing with a friend issue and you feel like that friend's just not showing up for you. Is there someone who is showing up? Or how is that friend showing up in ways you're not noticing? Or is there something that that friend needs that you yourself are not showing up for? How many different ways can we look at something? Same thing, multiple different views and inlets. And it can start in the body and it can kind of zoom out to life. And at some point, it might start to feel overwhelming. You might notice yourself leaving your body. That might be a great time to get back into your body. Maybe it's a little looking around. Maybe it's a little therapeutic touch. Maybe it's a movement. Maybe it's a right and a left. Because you just allow yourself to revisit whatever story is going on, whatever you're working through, whatever change is happening. And maybe it's one practice at a time, or maybe you're coupling, right? Doing a few. And maybe at some points it's literally a movement practice. Maybe it's just going for a walk or rocking. Maybe it's a breath work. Or maybe you're kind of combining all of that, right? Which is what we've been playing, working our way up to, playing with, which is how do I allow myself to mentally, cognitively process while also physically processing? We tend to uncouple those, right? I'm either thinking about something or doing something, when in all actuality, your body, your self works best when you're doing them together. You actually have your best thoughts, your biggest breakthroughs when you're moving and thinking at the same time. Embodied and cognitively processing simultaneously. Maybe your movement is a forward and a back. Maybe it's a shaken out, right? Whatever it is. Now, let's do a pause and a explicit checking back in with whatever you started working with today. How has your perception or experience of that shifted? Maybe it's something in the body, maybe it's in the brain, maybe it's a breath work, maybe it's a moment, a life moment. And then what do you need to do next? Do you need a breath work? Are you done? Do you just need to listen? Do you need to get up and go for a walk? Do you need a movement? Do you need to close your eyes and kind of meditate on that? Maybe going deeper into that cognitive reappraisal or silver lining, spotting the physical sensation, the emotions, the thinkings, the stories, and reworking the stories back down into physical sensation, like we've covered. Put your hands on your heart. Just kind of be here for a moment. What do you need to do next? And then let's go into a vocalization. Maybe it's a sigh. Hmm. Maybe it's a hum. Sometimes vocalizations, super powerful and super hard to let yourself do. They're looking around the room. And as you continue to look around the room, find something really pleasant to look at, something that makes you feel safe, secure, something that brings a little joy. You'll notice I've turned off my camera. It's no longer important for you to watch my experience. It's now very important for you to go deeper into yours. Choice time. You can either continue to just breathe, look at the thing that brings you joy, or feeling extra resourced, extra supported. Allow yourself to close your eyes. With your eyes gently closed, with those eyes closed, allow your eyes behind those closed lids to look up towards your eyebrows. Not too hard, not overworking, but enough. Take in an inhale, let out a long exhalation. Allow yourself to sink a little deeper into whatever it is you're sitting on right now, feeling so safe, so secure, as if you're letting go just a little more. And then allow your eyes to rest and relax as you sink a little deeper, a little deeper. Recalling whatever it was you were working on to begin with today, whether that's a physical sensation or a moment in life. Seeing it a little more clearly now, a little more fully, with more tools under your belt. Opportunities to breathe your way through it, move your way through it, feel supported through touch, vocalizations, allowing your body to take in those senses. Maybe seeing that experience, that argument, that shift, that change, that relationship in brand new ways. What is one thing you've learned today or in the last 6 weeks? One thing you commit to bringing forward as a practice, sinking deeper and deeper. Envision where you're going to practice this one thing. Is it in bed? Is it in your car? Is it morning? Is it evening? Where and when will you commit to practicing this? Sinking deeper. Imagine yourself practicing this and feel how relaxed and yielding and safe your body feels. See that moment in time or that sensation. Feel it. Get a little more safe, a little more expansive, a little more welcoming. Maybe even say to yourself, I promise to do this practice, and see yourself doing it somewhere very, very distinct. I promise myself. And when you're ready, take a nice deep inhale and let out a short, excited, powerful breath. Maybe even wiggling your fingers and your toes, feeling the weight of your body. And start to let your eyes open slowly and gradually, feeling a little more refreshed, a little more awake, looking around the space. And when you're ready, turn back to your camera, maybe just a little shaking, a little rocking, a little pandiculation stretch. Ah. I want to thank you all so much for joining us for the last 6 weeks as we've explored something that's really difficult to explore. Cognitive appraisals and reappraisals, emotions, and how it's all connected to physical experiences. It's something we do not talk about culturally or in the world ever. And so you've just done something really incredible for yourself, and you have some really powerful knowledge. So make it small, make it powerful, take one or two things, study them, keep practicing, and reach out if you need help, right? We'll see you soon. We're going to have the summer off. If you have any questions, ask them now because we ain't coming back next week. Thank you all so much. For those of you, there he is, Sleepy Bob. I know. That's what you really come for.